Okay, so this was the lock washer that I'm waiting for. So we got to pull this off, then the lock washer goes on here. Then we got to bend the tabs over. So you could probably do away with this lock washer if you put some red Loctite on it. But
So I thought about at one point just to, not wait on the locking tab washer to come in and just use red Loctite. But in the end, I figured it'd probably be better just to follow the book and put that locking tab in. And this tire gave me considerable trouble putting on. The spacers kept falling out, even though I kept putting some sticky grease on them to try to hold them in there. They just didn't want to stay. And in the end, I ended up having to just pull the tire off. It looked like the grease seals were not in deep enough, which wouldn't allow the mount for the calipers to go in where it should. So now I'm putting some anti-seize on the axle. Some people put grease on it. I always put anti-seize on both the rear and the front axles.
okay, so now we've got to take this. We've got to put this spacer in. Come on!
I was getting really frustrated with this tire. It just did not want to line up right. And that, like I said before, in the end, I ended up having to pull the tire off and repress the grease seals in there. Then that was enough room to allow the caliper bracket to go on.
All right, so we got the rear wheel on. I did manage to get the spacers in. I had to actually move the adjusters out because the wheel was too far forward when I was cleaning it. It was kind of almost rubbing up against this bolt. So we did get the bracket on. And it took me a while. I don't know why. I ended up having to take the wheel off because I don't think I got the grease seals in far enough, and it wasn't allowing the spacer in there to move over. So I think we're all set. It looks like it's pretty much in the center right now, so I think we're all set with that. I am going to take these shocks. It ended up being a lot easier to do it with the shocks on, but these shocks are coming off. So I've got to find a tool that I could press this cover down to put these take these collars off, because I want to look at the inside of the shock.
In fact, by the time this video comes out,
you can see there's some rust in here, so I don't know if the
tool
springs
should
are
be
rusty.
And those shocks
should
be all set.
A couple clutch plates and get some threaded rod and make a thing, but I'm going to see if I can find a tool that'll actually take these covers off on the... Okay, so here's this little O-ring I'm talking about, which goes right here, that transfers brake fluid from one side to the other. You lose that and it's going to pour out of the... Now I've already rebuilt these calipers, so I don't really need to do that again.
So I will pull these caliper bolts out one by one and put them in some rust remover, because on the inside of those hex bolts, there's like rust in there, so I'm going to clean all that out. Okay, so that looks like that's going to do it for this video. This video turned out a lot shorter than I expected, but there just wasn't a whole lot to putting this rear tire and caliper on. I didn't want to bore everybody with me spending half an hour trying to troubleshoot why this caliper wouldn't go in. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.